What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Ball Sports Network. Thank you guys for the continued support. Continue to hit the like, share, subscribe, thumbs up, and the notification bells. I drop videos every single day. Now, there is this big debate going on with the NFL and their ratings. Basically, it depends on what out of the politic scale that you fall on. If you're a right-winger, you're a right-wing person, you're saying, you're putting out messages that saying the NFL ratings tanked, that they were trash because of the moment of unity, because Lift Every Voice was played, the Black National Anthem, because of everything the NFL is doing because of social justice, because you want to watch football. You're there to see people give each other CTE and don't want to see any kind of political statements or messages displayed while you're watching football. So there's those people that are saying that. And then there's the people that are saying NFL ratings didn't actually tank. No, the people that's actually making some sense. The NFL ratings, it's not because of social justice. It's because they were slightly down because there was a whole bunch of other things going on in the country right now. I mean, there is currently still a global pandemic taking place. Some people might not want to watch football during a global pandemic. And not to mention, there was crazy amount of competition last night against the NFL. One, this was not a marquee matchup. Everybody knows the Chiefs are better than the Texans. We saw them score 51 straight points against them in the playoffs, and the Texans got worse, and the Chiefs got better. So this wasn't a matchup that was going to draw a whole bunch of people, besides the fact it was the two highest-paid quarterbacks in the history of the sport taking the field against each other. That was the only thing that was really, noticeable about this matchup. Of course, people want to see the Chiefs, but the Texans don't even get people in Texas to watch them. Now, if it was the Chiefs and Cowboys, would have had a bigger number. But let's actually look at some of the facts before we go out and say that the NFL just tanked their first game. And look at some of the facts that may have led to a slight dip, in ratings between the season opener, which was the Packers and the Bears. Let's take that into account. The Packers and the Bears, two of the most historic franchises in the NFL, opened the season last year. And then we had the Chiefs and Texans. So let's look at some of the numbers. So this, by the way, this was the most watched event in TV since the Super Bowl. This is the most watched event. This is the only event that hit 20 million viewers since the Academy Awards, which took place in February. This was the most watched sporting event since the Super Bowl, which NBC is reporting 20.3 million viewers, down from 22 million viewers that they had last year. So 22 to 20.3. That doesn't sound like tanked ratings to me. That doesn't sound like it tanked. And let's go into some of the, like I said, let me dive into some of the reasons why people may have not watched. Social justice activism, we brought that up. Obviously, the NFL is pushing hard. You had Lift Every Voice play, and I did a video about that, about the people booing during the moment of unity during Lift Every Voice. It might be the most disliked video in the history of videos. People did not want to hear what I had to say when it came to talking about Lift Every Voice and the social activism that the NFL is doing during this season. So that may be a reason why people didn't watch. There's also sports fatigue. Let's see. This is from an article from Yahoo Sports. I want to give them credit because they did a really good job on this. Ratings for sports, not just politically active ones, are down across the board. The twin social hurricanes of the pandemic and racial protest has forced sports into a secondary role with the ongoing wildfires that are taking place on the West Coast as well. As far more pressing concerns to millions than whether Patrick Mahomes has a good day of passing, it's tough to relax and watch football when the world is crushing you down. That's also a potential. Also, there was no preseason, so there was no hype building up. Hard Knocks, which is one of the most watched sporting shows on HBO during that time slot, their ratings were down. There were no preseason. There was nothing to look forward to. So there was no hype building up to this game. I already talked about the fact that it was the Chiefs and the Texans. People in Texas don't even watch the Texans, right? Like they're not a draw. And the fact that their team is not very good, and they're not going to be very good, besides the fact they have an amazing quarterback, they got rid of his best receiver, they're not very good. So you're comparing apples and oranges. The ratings didn't tank. There's just a lot of other stuff going on. There was a LeBron James playoff game that took place last night. There was Serena Williams in the U.S. Open taking place last night. And there was a national hockey game taking place last night. Not to mention a slew of baseball games people could have been focusing on, besides the Chiefs and the Texans. So the ratings didn't tank. It just had a lot of competition. And there's a lot going on in the world right now between the world of social justice, wildfires on the West Coast, and the coronavirus pandemic. So people, please, with the NFL ratings tank because they care about black people now, all of a sudden. You can miss me with that. That doesn't make any sense. That just simply isn't true. You're just spreading lies. You're spreading stuff that isn't true at all. And then Yahoo brought up this point too as well. That is major. That we really had to take into account. Few outside the home options. Think about this. If you don't have cable, where's a place a lot of people gather together to watch football games? At bars. Sports bars, B-dubs, their favorite sports bar, your favorite local bar. A lot of those are closed. And the ones that aren't closed have limited capacity. That's a lot of screens not watching NFL games. I think that matters, guys. That matters. The ratings systems, they know how to pick up when those TVs are being watched and when those capacities are being filled to watch their games. That matters. It's $2 million off during the pandemic, during wildfires, during social justice. Give me a break. The ratings didn't tank. They were down slightly. You let me know. Do you feel like the ratings tanked in the NFL? And if so, do you think it's because of the social justice that's taking place? Because they're doing things like playing Lift Every Voice and locking arms before games? Let me know in the comments down below. Once again, my name is Jeff Lightsy Jr. with the Boss Sports Network. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll see you next time.